Thank you for joining us. Before we get started on today's episode, just a quick reminder to please smash the like button in the bottom right corner and subscribe to Locked On Senators so you can be the first to know when new content arrives. The best way to help us grow is to comment on the video as well. So let us know if this is a player you want the Sens to draft or you think they should stay away from, and let us know why as well. This is one of 64 draft profiles that we're producing, so let's get into it. All right, Pillsy, here we go. It's countdown season. Coming in at 25th overall on the Locked On Senators draft ranking countdown, we're going to the Czech Republic. Jiri Kulich, a centerman.
Kulich is very intriguing, Ross. This guy, he had his coming out party in international play, and we'll get into that. But just starting off, he's doesn't have the size that Gaucher has, that's for sure. But I wouldn't say he's a small guy. I got him listed at 6 feet, 172 pounds, a left shot centerman playing in the Czechia. I gotta get used to saying Czechia. New country name in the pro league there. So he had 49 games played, 9 goals, 5 assists, good for 14 points, 4 PIMs, and he was the captain of the Czechia U18 team.
Yeah, not only that, but he lit it up. He was the MVP at the under 18s this year, and for great reason. That's where the offensive game really exploded for Kulich, because we knew that he had defensive skill. We knew that he was one of those reliable centermen who can kill penalties, play in all situations, pretty similar to Nathan Gaucher. But then he decided to wow everyone with 9 goals and 11 points at the World Under 18s. Yes, 9 goals in 6 games. That's pretty sick right there. And he did it in part with a hat trick against Team Canada in a 6-5 win. Had 11 shots on goal that game. So it's not like he did it all against Switzerland, although he had 2 goals and an assist against Switzerland in that game and 2 goals against Germany as well. But he was just an absolute legend in that tournament, like running up and down. And I just love the way he brought it. And you know what else I love too, is after his season ended on March 14th in the Czech Extra League, he went back down to the U20 level. Maybe in preparation for the World Under 18s, or maybe just because there wasn't enough. Why not get him to play a few extra games? And what did he do down there, Pillsy? He absolutely lit it up. In his second game, he had 4 points. And then he had a 3-point performance, a couple other games with a goal. So all in all, he played 6 games down there. And yeah, he scored 6 goals as well. So this guy, I think there's a level of untapped offensive potential for a guy who's really being touted as a very defensively responsible guy. The rankings reflect that. Corey Pronman has him at 17th on his list. Tony Ferrari has him at 18. We've got Scott Wheeler at 22. Elite Prospects at 28. Craig Button at 32. Bob McKenzie at 40. And Chris Peters at 49. Chris Peters, his list is going to be updated, and he's going to fly up the rankings just like he did on Scott Wheeler's most recent rankings. He was all the way down at 41, and he moved up to 22. That's the kind of impact that the World Under 18s made on Jiri Kulich. So I think that you're just looking at a guy who's scratching the surface, and I don't even think he's that far away. This guy could be in the NHL to me in 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Ross. And that's the thing. He's a smart two-way center. You mentioned how defensively responsible he is, but then he can go out and just be a dominant force on offense whenever he wants to be. Like if he decides, all right, I'm going to ramp things up offensively, he can do that. And one of the reasons he can do that is he has a lethal one-timer on the power play. Like some of the highlights to watch from that tournament, like it's like the Norris situation on Ottawa. Yeah. Everyone knows that's watching on TV, the other team, the Ottawa Senators, the fans in the building, the broadcasters, every single person watching this game of hockey knows it's going to him. You still can't stop him, and they're still going to feed him because they know that's the best option. And Kulich just does such a great job of that. And there's lots to like defensively as well. Like he's able to drive attackers wide. Like Will Scouch in his video that he did about him said he does a good job of just herding attackers where he wants them to go, like a border collie with sheep, right? It's like, no, you don't want to go towards that gate. Let's head towards this gate over here in this field over here. Let's go wide instead of going to the home plate danger scoring area of the ice. So that's one thing that he uses his hockey IQ to just make smart decisions that make opponents' lives very hard. However, sometimes he gets out muscled for puck battles, and that'll happen. He's a younger kid playing in a pro league over in Czechia, and he's not. Will Scouch also mentioned that his team had a hard time getting to high danger scoring opportunities and getting good shot attempts off, so that's going to limit his chances as well. So I think part of the reason some scouts have different opinions about Kulich is it's tough to evaluate him at the Czech pro level and international hockey compared to the usual SHL or juniors or college hockey or something like that. Like, I think it's harder to get a read on where a guy truly is there.
I'm trying to think of a comparable over the last few years, a guy who's been drafted in the first round out of the Czech league, and nothing's really coming to mind. Like, I'm trying to think over the last few years when we've been doing this. Like, we know Jan Mishak was a Czech player, but he was playing out in the Ontario Hockey League a little bit. Or did he come over after?
I don't remember, but I think he was in the OHL.
Yeah. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I guess the point being is that it's hard to tell when they're not playing against the same level of opponents. Yeah, he was drafted
That's
out
what
of the
I'm
Hamilton
saying.
Bulldogs
Yeah.
as well. So, but that's why he shot up all these rankings, right?
Yes.
When you see him play against his own level of competition. Martin Kaut is the last one
Okay,
that I
I
can
thought
see
about
here.
him. Yeah.
Pardubice in the Czechia League. That was from the 2018 draft. He went 20th overall. I think you're probably looking at a little more upside from Kulich. Now, Kaut came over and ended up playing the AHL really young, and I wonder if that's always good for their development or not. Obviously, fans love it because they're in the system, they're close by, they're playing with other teams' prospects, but I wonder.
That's a Detroit pick, right?
No, Colorado.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Because I was going to say, if it's Detroit, you have to go through Grand Rapids University to get to
Yeah, no,
Detroit.
no doubt. Yeah, all that to say, man, I think that he would be a phenomenal pick in this range, even a little bit higher. Like, I think that next year you're going to see the offensive numbers pop. You even saw it at the end of the year. He was starting to contribute as well. Pull up his elite prospects page here, and I know it does count the world under 18s in here, but 13 goals in his last 10 games, Pilsy. Like, that's pretty decent. When you're looking at what he brings. April 14th birthday, so he'll be 18 throughout this entire playing season. 5'11", 179 we have him at now after the NHL combine. And when you look at the points, again, this guy's played in a million different leagues. With Karlovy here with the Czech squad, I love that he's getting a ton of games though, right? 49 games this year. A lot of these other guys in Sweden and whatnot are playing like 25 to 30, right? So I think that in itself is something that you can be like, okay, so he's getting lots of development time. That's great. Let's see that continue next year. And in one spot too, right? Last year, he was back and forth on loan with the second division team, playing 8 games, 10 games, and then 5 games, point per game at the U20 level. So I'm excited about this prospect. I think that he's going to get scooped up well before the second round. I think he could be one of those like really late risers on draft day where a team could even take him in the top 15 and be like, we are banking on the offensive upside, because his vision on the defensive side, like the way he controls play in the defensive end, like his skating, his defensive positioning is all so well refined that if he can unlock the offensive game at the next level, like he's already unlocked it against where he's playing against, especially late in the year. How high is his ceiling? I think the answer is extremely high for Jiri Kulich.
Yeah, Ross, you know who's coming to mind as we're having this discussion about Kulich? A guy that I found we had similar discussions about in previous drafts, Anton Lundell. Like Lundell, when we talked about him as a prospect, it was all, this guy is defense first. He's going to be a great third line center. He's going to kill penalties. Maybe, hopefully, he can get some offense going, right? And he's been able to do that in his first year with the Florida Panthers. He had 18 goals, 26 assists. He had 44 points in 65 games. Like, that's the type of production that if he's put in the right spot and is drafted by a good team and that can surround him by good veteran players like Florida was able to with Lundell, I think Kulich could really flourish. So I think there's a lot of upside to be had here. I think a team is going to reach and grab him earlier rather than later, and I think they're going to be happy they did that. I think he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah, I think I mean, I know you kind of put in the Sens potential of being available at that spot in your stars. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to give him 4.5 stars just
Okay.
based on he's an unbelievable player, and I'd like to see him in Ottawa. It's as simple as that.
So would you like, is that the kind of pick where you're like, screw the value that I have in other draft picks and prospects
No.
and stuff, use that value to trade up to grab him, and
Uh,
that's our big splash of the draft?
mm,
Like, is he that? Like, you got him at 4.5 stars. Like, that's
yeah.
pretty damn near perfect. So
I mean,
would you be
I
okay
wouldn't
with
do
that?
that with I wouldn't do that with Lane Hudson, who had 5 stars. But for me, that's just like if he's available at 39, like jump on that. However, there was a time in the middle of the season where he wasn't as productive. So maybe you're thinking like, was that just midseason blues? It was after the World Juniors got canceled, where there's a little bit of a lull in his game. But I'm not worried about that. I'm banking on the well-rounded play, the pace, the amazing footwork on defense, and I would say that if it's like, all right, trade 39 and one of your 2 third-round picks to move up into the top 25, I would absolutely do that. But I'm not making an enormous splash. There are some
Okay.
guys who I like better, but I'll tell you right now, I'll take this guy over the 2 that we're doing tomorrow.
All right. So I've got him at 3 stars, not because I don't like him as a player, just because I don't see a scenario where the Sens will draft him, and I just think he's going to get scooped up earlier. I think he's a great player, and he's going to have a good impact, but I don't see the fit working for the Sens.
Okay, so you get 3 stars, not even 3.5.
There, unless like, how do you move up from 39 to? I think his range is going to be like 15 to 25. Like, how do you move from 39 up? My math isn't working out here, but how do you like to move that many picks is a big deal. You'd have to put a lot of chips in the table, unless you're flopping multiple picks. Like later on, the Sens give up another earlier pick and take another one back. Like, it's just so hard to maneuver that. So that's why I give him 3 stars. Not because I don't like him as a player. I just don't see how it would happen. And that's, again, like we said, that's how I'm kind of grading my stars as well.
Yeah, I just absolutely think he's gonna make an impact sooner than a lot of these players too. I don't think he's far away from being an impact
That's
player at the
fair.
NHL level.
Yep.
So let's see how this all plays out, because for me, Jiri Kulich, and if you're listening to this after your team has just selected him,
Yeah.
this is one of those players I think when we look back in the draft, he's going to be climbing up when we go like, wait, how'd he go 20th? Like, this guy's an absolute stud. So Pilsy's got him at 3 stars. I got him at 4.5. And that's it for Jiri Kulich.